What's the difference between savings and investments? And how do you know a good investment when you see one? What are the do's and don'ts of investing? And how early should we start? 30 years savings all lost to fraudsters. How do we avoid falling victim to such unpleasant situations? Well, all this and more are the things that we are going to discuss with my guest today. Welcome to Lady Shayo Speaks. Remember to like this video, put your comment in the comment section below, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Let's get into it. Welcome to Lady Shayo Speaks, and it's going to be another exciting episode. This time around, we're going to learn how to keep and make more money. And I have the best person here today who is going to give us some exciting tips on how we can invest and grow our money regardless of what your current financial status might be. And so today I'd like to say welcome Taiwo Olashore. Thank you so much for being my guest on the show today.
And thank you so much for having me. I think first and foremost, it's an honor to be on your show, and we're going to talk about something that's actually very passionate to me, investing.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to get into it, but as I usually do, I'd like to introduce my guest properly and give everyone a little bit of insight into who he is. And so I'll be going through his profile. Now, Mr. Taiwo Olashore is the Managing Director of Lead Asset Management Limited. And if you want to invest your money, I advise that you quickly, look at the links that I'm going to drop below this video and invest your money. A licensed fund manager by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) to manage mutual funds and collective investment schemes. He currently serves as a vice chairman of Olashore International School, a co-educational full boarding secondary school committed to academic excellence and developing leaders for the dynamic global society in the 21st century. He is also a director at CELD Innovations, a technology-driven consumer loyalty company, and Africa's first unified cash reward as a service company. Taiwo is an experienced investment banker with key skills set spanning treasury, financial advisory, capital fundraising, and funds management. He holds an MSc Finance and Management from the School of Management, Cranfield University, UK, having initially held a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Wolverhampton. He has attended various courses locally and abroad. He is also an alumni of the Lagos Business School, LBS, at the Advanced Management Program, AMP25, and a fellow of the Investment Advisors and Portfolio Managers of Nigeria. So welcome, Taiwo. That is a very powerful, powerful profile. But just to familiarize yourself a little bit better to our viewers, just tell us one or two things about you that I didn't cover in the profile.
Well, I think you summed almost everything. Okay, well, first of all, I'm a parent, so I'm married, so I have 2 kids. I love
to a
traveling.
Lovely, very, very lovely wife, I might add.
I like traveling, so I've been to roughly about 36 countries. So I travel a lot. I'm also involved in a foundation, so which focuses on mental wellness and adolescents education. So those are the 2 things. Those are a few things I'm also passionate about.
Okay. Fantastic. So let's get into the discussion for today. What do you think is the starting point for wealth creation?
Put it in a different way. In most cases, I think wealth creation is very, very critical in today's world. I think, first of all, when we look at ourselves, we're always focusing on today, which is we're focusing on family, holidays, educational trust fund, healthcare. Those are the things we're always very concerned with. But that is today. But we never look at tomorrow.
And tomorrow,
long term, you have the same challenges. Like, for example, what kind of lifestyle will I will I have when I retire? Will I be dependent, or will I have resources to maintain a lifestyle? Or what kind of legacies do I want to leave behind? So those are things that are very, very critical. So as such, I always tell people one thing about wealth creation is you have to start with pay yourself first. I think
Pay
it's the first
yourself
thing.
first. Yeah.
It's the first thing you must always try to do. Instead of what you earn, you save what you save after you finish spending everything you've earned, or you save first, then spend the balance. And it's very, very critical that you start early. I think that's one of the critical success factor. Then as we talk further, I will now show you different techniques of how we can achieve that.
Yeah, I like that. Different techniques and how we can achieve that. Okay. You mentioned long term, and I think you're right. We often think about today. We don't think about our retirement. We don't until maybe we get very close to retirement. That's when some of us start thinking, oh my goodness, in the next 15, 20 years or the next 5 years, I'm going to retire. What am I going to do? We don't always think long term. So can you just tell us a little bit about short and long term investments? What would be the best way to go about it?
Okay, so I would there are different asset classes. I will explain that, but also want to just dwell on starting early. I think
Starting early.
Just quick few things points I want to just draw across to start early. I think from data they said if you look at wealthy people, they normally start saving very, very, very early in life. There's always delayed gratification. So you realize that most of the investment is done long term, and based on those investments, they fund most of their current wants and needs. They focus their investments on buy and hold. So they're not every time buying and selling on a continuous basis. You tend to lose. Then they're more charitable. They realize that they give back to society as part of as a secret to living is given. So paying tithes goes a long way in wealth creation. So I think now to go back to emphasize what you just mentioned. So in terms of the short term, which is things like bank deposits, things like commercial paper, money, they're literally money market instruments. Those are instruments that have a tenor less than 1 year. Then long term, other assets, stocks like things like equities, bonds, derivatives, those are long term.
Okay.
But I can also look at it a different way. That in terms of investing, as an investor, you must always have 3 asset classes in your
asset classes.
bouquet
I
of
hope everybody has their notebook
investments.
ready. Three
The first
asset classes.
asset class,
We need to write. Go ahead. I'm writing. 3 asset classes. Okay. Go ahead.
3 asset classes. Yes, the first asset class will be more of your safety asset class, and that has to do with things like I mentioned earlier, your money market instruments, investment that has the maturity less than 1 year. So that's your normal bank deposits, your bank deposit, commercial paper, treasury bills. They're usually very short tenured. Then the other one is your risky bucket. And your risky bucket focuses on things like
what did you call risky bucket?
Risky, because there's some elements of risk.
Oh,
you might
risky.
Not get back
your risky
entire
bucket.
Capital back. There's elements of risk.
Okay.
So yeah, so those are equities, any investments that spans over a year. So things like bonds, options, derivatives. As it gets more complicated, but that's your risky bucket. Then the third bucket is more of a dream bucket.
Dream bucket.
Those are more of aspirational purchase. So, for example, I buy an holiday in UK. It's an aspirational purchase in sense that the property might rise in value, but the reality is that you're not buying it because it's something that makes you feel happy. For example, I buy a piece of land. in Banana Island. It looks nice. It's an aspirational purchase because you're not earning anything from it. So I always tell people that in any investment you do, 2 things is important. Cash flow. That means you must be getting something in terms of dividend.
Yeah, something must be coming out of it.
treasury bills. You understand? The another one is capital gains in the terms that you pray that the assets in which you've invested in also appreciates in value. I hope I'm not going too fast.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So it now depends on as I said, capital appreciation. So for example, I buy property at X, I'm open to sell it X plus 5. So those are the two critical ingredients to every investment I make. Other factors
Fantastic.
I might look at is the liquidity of the assets, the convertibility of the assets, which means that can I quickly convert that asset to cash? Can I
Okay.
quickly?
If I need money in a hurry, I can. Can I quickly?
Yeah, exactly. What else can I use that asset for? So for example, can I pledge the asset with a bank to raise capital? So those are
Okay.
other
Other
the
considerations.
liquidity of the assets, very key. Other considerations.
Okay, now let's quickly talk about real estate. There's been a lot of hype about going into real estate. People are saying that they make billions from real estate. There are a lot of people on social media telling you that you can buy a property and convert it into an Airbnb and things like that. What's your opinion about some of these things?
Okay, so first of all, let's look at the current situation we're in right now. We're in a very high inflationary environment, which means even the UK, I think inflation had peaked around 10%.
Yeah, it's terrible everywhere.
Back, yeah. Even back here in Nigeria, we're saying inflation rates around 20 something percent. So one of the store of value is to have an asset, because once you've invested in assets, the assets would also rise as you're saying inflation rise. So what a lot of people did was that they went into real estate, especially back home in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You understand? A lot of people went to real estate. Now, so in terms of real estate, you now want to be earning some form of rental. And people looked at it in terms of dividend rental yield. Having rental properties is a good option to save money. So it's also very good. I'm not really an expert in real estate, but I will tell you that for me personally, I do have some assets in real estate, and I obviously get rental income from it.
Some yield from it. Okay, so it's a good idea, but I think people maybe should exercise caution, I guess.
Yes, no, because one of the few things I've also experienced is when obviously you don't get paid rent, and so when the defaulters from your tenants, and so there are other assets classes that someone can buy that is more of low maintenance. Because I'm always very, very careful. I mean, for me personally, in anything I invest, to be ensured that it's not something that takes money out of my pocket, but something that gives me money. So in that instance, you can invest in REITs, real estate trust fund, where in that instance, the fund manager pulls funds together, and you're one of the subscribers who benefits from that.
Okay. So
from that investment.
that's a lower kind of, that makes sense. Okay. Now there are also we have a lot of money apps. There are a lot of apps that that help you save. Piggy, is it Piggy Vest? There are quite a number of apps. Some banks too also have some apps that and some of these apps give out loans. I know that some of these apps, people take loans, and when they're not able to pay the loan back, the app starts sending messages to all their contacts that this person is a fraudster and is owing money. Now, I remember that I actually had a friend who took money from one of these apps, or these, I don't know what to call it. I don't know whether to call them companies, or I don't even understand. Anyway, she got the money through the app, and and the interest, the interest is quite it's how do I put it? The interest goes every day. So even as the person is paying back the money, more interest keeps on climbing on top of it. So at the end of the day, she had paid like 3 times the initial loan, and she had not finished paying. And so they started sending messages to all her, that's how I found out anyway. They started sending messages to all her contacts that she's owing money. Now I said, okay, can you contact these people and have a conversation with them, because you've actually paid back the money, you've even paid back the interest, and because the interest keeps on climbing every day, because you know you're, it's like they keep on saying you're still owing. And we tried to get in touch with whoever is, I mean, there was no registered address. We tried calling, so it was quite a messy situation. So what's your take on those apps, and what would be your advice to people that want to get
Okay.
quick money?
First of all, I first want to start with, why were you borrowing money? If it's for consumption, then it becomes a problem. I always
Yeah,
try
okay.
to still be cautious and ensure that if I'm borrowing money, is actually for either for an asset or for something that would generate for
More
business,
money. Okay, so
working
we shouldn't
capital
even be,
that would
people should
generate
not even
income.
be borrowing money
So it makes things easier. Now, yeah,
consumption.
yes. So I rather not borrow money for consumption. I did that for a very long time when I piled up credit card bills. The moment I realized the secret with money, I stopped. I always rather pay things using cash or ensure that it's funded beforehand, or I save for it,
Towards
then
it.
I
Yeah.
pay for it. Now, I first must start by explaining what has happened. It's because in Nigeria, I will talk back at home, then I'll look at what your climate in the UK. I will first start with, first of all, the right in Nigeria, the cost of borrowing is quite high. So you're borrowing from at probably about 5% flat per month. And the question is, if you have the money for 12 months, you already paid back 60%.
Wow.
Now, a lot of those borrowings are not collateralized, so there's no
Okay.
security covering those loans. As such, that's why the interest rate is quite high. The calculation is very, very easy. If I loaned you 1 million naira, I'm expected to earn back 600,000 naira back in interest.
Wow.
Now, it's because of the level of default is also high. That's why the level of interest rate is also quite high. So that accounts for it, because there's certain things we can't reinvent banking norms. And one of the few things of banking norms is that, especially in our climate, you must leave security to borrow money.
Yes. So.
If there's no security, a lot of people walk away. I've also
Mm.
experienced, even with colleagues that have migrated, took loans and abandoned the
And ran
loans
away.
and ran away. It's because there was no sense of
Oh
security.
my goodness.
Now, that's why those rates are quite high. Now, again, looking at Nigeria, there's always that emotional blackmail. Like, if I have details of your contacts, you understand, I can persuade them by embarrassing you to pay. So I think that's why a lot of the lenders have resorted to
To
that
that way of
degree.
trying to get the
Yeah.
money back. Yeah. And nobody wants their
You
name
know,
soiled in the
offshore,
public.
yes.
Yeah.
Offshore, abroad, what you probably do, it affects your credit rating, the ability
Yeah.
to get additional credit
Yeah.
diminished. Although things are slightly changing here, we also have a credit bureau in Nigeria. I believe there are two credit bureaus, which most banks supply all your details, so you can easily tell from the onset, is this guy credit worthy or is not.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how about what do you take? These multi-level schemes, a lot of schemes, multi-level marketing, Ponzi schemes. Some of them come and tell you that if you invest this amount and bring two people, bring three people to do the same, you will get XYZ on, and some people do it and make some money out of it, and some people get their fingers burnt. What's your
Okay.
what's your
So
take on those
I,
schemes?
I think I've been burnt. I put in money in Zino Spectre in early 2000, I think, and I got persuaded by my twin brother, and I kept on saying there were quite a number of red flags, and he kept on telling me everybody's doing it and everybody got paid. So first of all, you must ask yourself certain things. Are you after return on your investment or return of your investment? So, so, so you must ask yourself, so you must also be very, very careful. And it also goes the same thing when you're investing in equities. And I take a quote from Buffett, who says that it is far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than buy a fair company at a wonderful price. So I kind of throw those two in so that you understand that when a return is so high, you understand, the higher the risk. So you must ask yourself, question mark. Now, then ask further questions. What exactly are you doing to be able to pay these attractive returns? Yes, understand. That's why for one, there's some theory, which means clearly that you can always have a fool that will pay a higher price for what you bought. So that's why I want to in certain things, because I keep asking myself, okay, what is the underlying asset? What's the underlying transaction?
What's the value that you're offering?
What's they're investing in? Yes, you might be lucky that you got your initial money back, but subsequent ones, it becomes very risky. However, there is always, first of all, I always said that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look at what you must always take element of risk. That's the truth. Waking up today is a risk. Going to work is a risk. Everything is risky. The question is that once you don't take that risk, you start having life of regret. So it is better to take the risk. But the question you now ask yourself, what percentage or am I comfortable investing in? So that will always start with. So you, for example, if you're very conservative, you might tell yourself, I will invest maybe 10% of my portfolio in a risky asset. Not to digress, it's like looking at cryptocurrency.
That's another one. Talk to us about crypto. Bitcoin. Some of us just think that, you know what, it's a no-go area, but people are making money there.
A lot of people have made money. I'm not disputing it. You understand? It's a way to counter the fiat currency, looking at the US dollars, the overbearing influence they have since the reference currency. Then how do you have an independent currency? But my question now comes in very, 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 very careful, is that I always ask myself saying things. Why am I holding on to Bitcoin? You understand? Does it pay me coupon? Does it pay me interest? Does it pay me rental? Remember I said something.
Yeah, your money must be working for you.
Must be working for me. I'm not. I always give an illustration. I'm a twin. My twin brother buys land, and I keep asking him. He bought a land last time. He had to go and fence it. You had to, be watching over it. And I said, look at all the wala you put yourself into. You understand? Because you're not getting
more money
from that
to keep the assets.
Yes, but it is from the belief that the land is scarce, that this land will appreciate. I said, until when? So that you become illiquid. Your first thing is that there must always be some elements of cash flow, the ability that you're getting money on a periodical basis. If there's no cash flow, it's from those cash flow that you can now maintain your lifestyle. You understand? Once you get a cash flow comes in, you can settle certain obligations. Then, as unlike the other case, the latter case, you have to realize the gain, sell the assets so that you can meet up obligations.
Okay.
So that's why
the difference.
That's where I look at it.
Okay. So if it's not bringing in money, then why hold it in the first place? So let me talk about agriculture. There are some schemes where people can invest in, and they go to farms and sow different kinds of crops, and at the harvest time they sell and people get return on the investment. So what are your thoughts about agriculture?
Okay, so first of all, Nigeria is like a flag, green, white, green. Green stands for fertility, fertile ground. So Nigeria is a very fertile country. However, my challenge with such a scheme is that you don't have control over the harvest. Like for example, last year, with Nigeria, a greater part of Nigeria was flooded. So that means very, very bad harvest. So the element of risk is also extremely high. We had engaged previously a lot of the agri-tech firms from years back, saying that you're collecting money, you understand, and it's not under a proper structure. When I mean structure, it's not regulated by the SEC, who would oversee and ensure that the individual investor is protected. You understand? So that was one of the challenges I had with such a
Okay.
program.
Fantastic.
Although a lot of them were from reputable companies, but I just had that challenge.
Okay. Very quickly, can you just give us the difference between savings and investments?
Yes, I think that is also very, very, very crucial. A lot of us make the mistake and we use the word interchange.
Interchangeably. Okay.
Yes. So savings is just you're setting money aside for an emergency or for a future purchase. While investing is you're buying an asset. For example, you're buying a mutual fund, real estate, and expectations that your investment will make you money. So I will just give an illustration. So the return on your savings is very, very low. So for example, if I deposit, let's say 20,000 naira in the bank, and it's in a savings account and I earn 3%. So, and I leave that money for 20 years. So simple interest, you're going
Inflation
to
will
earn
eat it.
what? 3%. Yeah, exactly. Is inflation eroded? You understand? But if I invested that money and there's some element of risk involved, let's say you earn 10% per annum, you would gain a lot of money over a period of time. And reason why is also very important, especially I'll give an example. When you save, is the savers that lose money in the long run. A typical example is, look, banks create money by giving new loans, and they get
Okay.
paid in.
And they take the savings and use it to
And
give out
debtors
loans.
and debtors buy assets with the new money the banks have given them, so thereby increasing money supply. The savers deposit money in the bank and it suffer inflation from increased money supply. So in the long run, when you're saving money, you're actually worse
You're
off.
actually losing money. Okay.
So
Thank
you're actually worse off.
Thank you for that. At least
So
now you know the difference between saving and investment. Taiwo, thank you so much. It's been a really, really engaging session today, and it's been an eye-opener. I think the key thing I took from what you've said is
okay.
your investments must be constantly bringing money. So anything that you think you bought, like land is nice to have and all of that. But if it's not yielding money for you, if you cannot get rental income or something from the land, then you really don't have an investment as such. Final words to our viewers before we sign
Yes.
out today.
Okay. I think first of all, pay yourself first. Have a plan. Invest for long term. Save for short term. Be consistency is very key, and be disciplined.
And fantastic. Thank you so much. So that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an awesome session. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to my guest. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, put your comments underneath, and I will put the links to all his social media handles, his investment company as well, in case you're interested in making an investment. And if you need further advice, you can also reach out to him, and he would be able to assist. Thank you so much. That's it from us and Lady Shayo Speaks today. And watch out for my next video coming up soon. Bye-bye for now.